Okay, good win for our program on Saturday. As we talked about earlier last week, those wins at the Coliseum are hard to come by. Haven't been a lot of them for us through the years, and so to be able to come away with that win was big for us. Exciting game all the way down to the last play of the game. I mean, obviously, so very proud of Cole Becker for hitting that field goal. Proud of our team for hanging in there, handling adversity. Just kept playing. You know, there was a game of back and forth. We actually took control there, 28-14, late in the third, and had we been able to put one more on them, probably would have been a different story. But we wouldn't. They came surging back and ended up, like I said, going down to the last play of the game. So on to Oregon now. Really good football team. Very balanced, good offense, really good defense. So there is no weakness. They're a complete team. Hands down, the number one offense in the league as far as yards per game, 550 yards or somewhere in that neighborhood. Nearly, a bunch of points, nearly 50 points a game. Great quarterback, great leader, competitor. Like I said, balanced, about 230 rushing and 320 passing, leading the conference in rushing offense, which is, that is usually a really good thing for you when you can do that. But again, they're playing really good defense. They're top third of the league in pretty much every defensive category. So no weakness. College game day coming. That'll be an exciting thing for the university, the community. That's I think it's 2016 maybe was the last time we had that here. So it's been a while, but it's great to get that get that crew back on campus, and big game in the conference picture. They're one lost team, as are we. So both our backs are to the wall, and it should be hopefully a great football game. So questions, starting with my man over there.
This is a great win, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, in the fourth quarter, when you kicked off the, why did you not split the ball with kicking?
Well, we've been covering pretty good, and we ended up actually having a pretty good night overall. We kicked off, 7 or 8 times, and actually did a good job on our kickoff coverage. Did a really good job in punt coverage till the very last one as well. That was one that, had we not been able to win that game, that would have been the play of the game, that big punt return of theirs. But that was wise, because we had really done a good job of covering kicks and keeping them mostly inside the 25-yard line, and so that was the reason for that.
How big a step forward did Bryson take in this game?
Big step forward. He did. He seems to get better each week. He completed over 60% of his balls. We did have the one pick six that I know he would have wanted back, but did a very nice job of running the offense and taking care of the ball, except for the one play. And he just seems to continue to grow and develop, which is a good thing. That obviously is a big positive for us.
With the C on his shoulder or his chest, indicating him as the captain, is that a player designation, or how does that work, especially mid-season?
Good question. What we did with Brant and Cam not being available for the rest of the year, we've replaced them with 2 captains, Keaton Bills and Bryson, and they're Keaton's been in place. I probably should have mentioned that a couple weeks ago, because Keaton's been in place for a couple weeks, and then with the decision that again they were both not going to be available, we elected the players elected the captain, that's last captain spot, and so they will serve as acting captains for the rest of the season, along with Karenni and Cole.
Looking at Sione Baki and his contributions on offense, one thing that really kind of jumps out is his anticipation of how he's able to make his cuts and reads. How much of that is due to his experience on defense and kind of seeing things from a defensive player's perspective when he goes on to offense?
Well, he was a really good offensive player in high school, so I don't think it's a lot predicated upon his defensive experience. I think it's just natural instinct and ability offensively, and he's just got a great feel for splitting defenders and making people miss, and also he has really good speed. I mean, you saw his top end, you've seen his top end the last few weeks, and so he's just got a skill set that is very conducive to being a good offensive player, and really his primary skill is catching the ball. I mean, he was an outstanding receiver in high school. That was his primary position, and so it's been a big plus for our offense, to say the least, to have him over there. You'll continue to see him over there, and the impact he's made on offense is actually probably bigger than the impact he makes on defense, and he's one of the best safeties in the country, so that tells you how valuable he's been on offense for us.
You said that Bryson seems like he's gotten better each week. Where do you see maybe the most improvement now relative to where he was earlier?
I just think, the way he's operating now, and he never was not confident, but he seems very sure of himself and very confident in what he's doing, really taking charge, just running the team like a quarterback should run it. That it factor of being a leader on the field is really starting to manifest for him, and and obviously getting the full allotment of the number one reps now that we know the situation helped him last week as well. So combination of those things.
Sorry, having some finality now, with Cam and Bran, just what does that do for you and your staff in the locker room, just not having those questions and not having to, wait till the end of the week, not having to guess at picking a shovel?
Yeah, well, we first of all, we certainly wish they could have been with us. I mean, they're really good players. They're two guys that really add to what we're doing, and two of the best players in the Pac-12. But the uncertainty, I don't want to say it was a distraction, but it seems to be, things are settled now, more of a settled feeling, and knowing exactly, going forward that, they're not going to be available helps us operate and plan in a little different way.
What kind of input are you going to have with them when they talk to you about whether they return or not next year?
What kind of input am I going to have?
Yeah, I'm sure they'll consult you and talk to you about it.
Okay. Yeah, I think as far as, obviously that is going to be completely their decision, but there's things you got to weigh there. What is the opportunity in the draft? Not having played this year, that's going to obviously impact things. Being able to come back for another year of college, with NIL, and that changes the picture as well, because before you'd come back and still eat top ramen every week, but now with NIL, you've got a chance to live a pretty good lifestyle. So I'm not going to, I don't have an answer right here, right now, but I'll certainly counsel them and give them my 2 cents worth, and those are two really smart guys. They're going to do their homework and talk to all the right people, and the key is not only talking to the right people, but not talking to the wrong people. You got people that you don't want their input because it's worthless, and so you got to make sure you talk to the right people.
Kyle, with Bryson, he took a few hits on Saturday night on that final drive. He got hit at least once that I can remember. He went down pretty hard. Did he come out of that game healthy?
Should be fine. Yeah, should be fine. And he's a tough guy. He's a really tough guy, and did throw it up in there, particularly that last drive, as you mentioned, those two scrambles where he lowered the shoulder and just went. And that's who he is. That typifies his style of play and what he's all about.
Would you prefer that he doesn't lower his shoulder?
Probably so. But in that situation, game was on the line. Sure. I mean, there's every scramble and run is not created equal, and in those that was critical that we got every yard we could because we were maneuvering for field goal position.
Sione Vaki's had such an impact, and you started to allude to this, I think, in the postgame. Will you make him a full-time offensive player, give him 20-plus touches, and then spot him on defense, given the impact he's having on offense?
It seems to be trending in that direction, and so we'll see where it ends up. But the first thing we got to do is make sure we don't overload him and make his workload too heavy and too much to realistically handle. And there's also a mental aspect to it too. It's not just physical; it's how much can he learn and assimilate, on both sides of the ball. Because a safety position here, there's a lot of adjustments. They do all the adjustments and coverage calls and run the show back there, and so there's a lot on their plate mentally with that. But yeah, it's analytically proven the impact of offense is greater than the impact of defense, and so we're going to continue to have him be a big part of the offense and see how much he can handle. We'll get to that point of I think it'll become obvious, I believe, when we get to that saturation point where, okay, that's enough. But to answer your question, is he become more of an offensive player than D? I'm not going to rule it out, but not yet. We're not there just yet.
Your secondary held up really well against your first
Sure
little
did.
shoot test
Yep.
in passing. I mean, how do you kind of evaluate that, knowing that you were able to hold Caleb? I mean, Caleb had the ball several times for many seconds. I mean, how do you feel like they did overall?
I thought they did really well, and that was a big plus for us. Zamaya Vaughn has really turned into a good corner. He's starting to really come of age, and Miles Battle played his best game as a Ute. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He tackled extremely well. Not only did they play well in coverage, but they came up in run support and did a nice job in run support. JT Broughton did a good job as well, and very pleased overall with the secondary in their entirety, the safeties included. Thought Nate Richie wasn't perfect, but did a good job filling in for Cole. And then, of course, when we got Cole back in that second half, that made us even more. Is it formidable or formidable? Whatever. Yeah, that. So it was good.
Kyle, will Cam continue to travel just to be around the QBs around the team?
To be determined, but if he wants to continue to be a part of it, he traveled with us, obviously, to USC, and so he's still one of our leaders, even though he's not on the field. And some weeks there may be a restriction number that we have to have. You can only have 74, and we may need a guy or two that for whatever reason in the game plan that could impact it. But all things being equal, yeah, we hope he's with us every week.
You alluded to Nate Richie having some good moments and bad moments. Obviously,
I didn't say bad. Moments.
Some areas where he can maybe improve a little
Sure.
as we go forward.
Yeah.
My apologies. If Sione does wind up, playing more offense heavy down the line, presumably we would see more of Nate. I guess what exactly did you see out of him, and what are those areas where you can see him taking steps forward?
Okay, as I've mentioned earlier in the season, he's still knocking the rust off from a church mission, but that he's getting closer and closer to being the player he was prior to the mission. He can be a little more decisive, trigger quicker. Was a little hesitant on things at times on Saturday. Missed a tackle or two. We only missed 9 tackles in the entire game, which is outstanding against a group of athletes like that. But just a little more urgency and triggering, and maybe a little better backside pursuit. You're also going to see John O'Hall. If we continue to use Sione more and more on John O'Hall is a really good player too, true freshman out of Texas. That because Nate is really more of a free, and Sione plays more of a strong safety for us. And so if Sione, Nate was filling in for Cole, but if we're looking for a fill-in for Sione, it's either going to be Nate or John O'Hall. Those are the 2 candidates.
2 straight games now with Jaquindon getting 20-plus carries,
Mhm.
to 100, if not over 100 yards. He had expressed frustration that he wasn't able to do that in the first part of the season. What does that do to have a guy that can go for 20-plus carries?
Oh, it's huge for us, and Jaquindon's a big part of our attack, and he wasn't able to because of that nagging injury. It wasn't that we didn't want to feed him the ball. We want to get him the ball. What you've seen the last few weeks is ideal. If we can get him 20 to 25, maybe even 28 carries, that's right in his wheelhouse, and if he can stay healthy and knock on wood, it appears that he's pretty much over the injury that was slowing him down, then that bodes well for us.
Is the running game better right now? Is the running game better right now because of the guys you have carrying the ball, or can you look at the film and see that the O-line is doing a better job opening holes?
Both, without a doubt. The O-line is really starting to gel, I guess might be the right word, and they're stacking games on top of each other where they're very efficient and doing a good job. And then Jaquindon back to 100%, and the addition of Sione have really helped that cause as well. So it's a combination of those things.
Bonex has been ridiculously efficient. I think 78%, 19 1 interception.
Yep.
Is he maybe the best decision maker of all the great quarterbacks in this conference?
He could be. I know right now he's the most pass efficient. There's a couple things you look at when you look at a quarterback statistically, the QBR, which tells you the whole picture, how they are running the football, passing the football, getting out of jams, avoiding sacks, and then just the pass efficiency number. Right now he's leading the conference pass efficiency wise. I think he's 180. Or close to it. He's got a really good efficiency, and that's saying something when you look at all the quarterbacks. You got Penix, you got Caleb. I mean, list goes on and on. So he's a tremendous player. But the thing I like about him most is his competitiveness and his leadership. And I saw that at Auburn. I saw him play one game at Auburn. I was watching SEC game a couple, what was it, 3 years ago, I guess now, and or the 21 season, and saw this guy. I thought, who is that guy? You know, he's just making plays and that just absolutely the field general of the team, and it was him, and so I've had a strong opinion of how good he is for several years, and that to me that's it, is the way he just leads and competes every week.
Prior to the USC game, Britton Allen walked out with the captains before the game.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything special for?
Yeah, he was the special teams player of the week, and the special teams player of the week is honorary captain each week, and so that's why, and yeah, that's the fifth captain, but that captain rotates, so we'll have a new one for this week, unless he wasn't the player of the week this week on special teams, so you'll see another guy this week. Demanding.
Bryson has looked markedly better, more comfortable these last 2 weeks, which coincides with him getting all the first-team reps for the entire week. Hindsight is 20/20, but if you could go backwards, would you have operated in that manner, making a decision on Monday, giving whoever it was, Bryson or Nate, all of the reps early?
Knowing what we know now, obviously,
Sure.
but we didn't know. I mean, that was I don't think we could have done it any differently given the circumstances. But if we had known then what we know now, yeah, I think we would have operated a little differently. But we're sitting here at 6-1, so we're doing some things right, coming away with wins. But yeah, in hindsight, but it's really a moot point because we had no hindsight at that time because of the situation.
You said Levani Demooney would step up.
I guess you never have hindsight at that time, do you? It wouldn't be hindsight. Yeah, it wouldn't be. What's that?
You said Levani Demooney will step up in Landry's replacement. What does the depth look like there? I know you have Justin Medlock, some other guys there. What does it look like for you right now?
Looks good, and like I've said several times this year, our 1 through 85 roster is the deepest it's ever been, and we've really tapped into it. And this is another occasion that we're going to need to do that. Levani Demooney is a tremendous player. He's physical. He's tough. Knows the defense inside and out. Extremely smart for only being here, for a short time. Sione Fotu also becomes more of a prominent guy now. Medlock as well. Josh Calvert. We hope to get Hayden Fury back. Hayden, you didn't see him in the game last week, so hopefully he's back this week. But we still have 5 or 6 guys that we think are very capable. But feel bad for Lander. I mean, he was really coming into his own. Probably played his best game against USC, game of the season, and to see that happen is disappointing. But there is a possibility he could be back for a bowl game. I mean, that is not out of the realm. Regular season, it's done. There's no way I shouldn't say no way, but very doubtful he'll be back for any of the regular season. But possibility for a bowl game.
This is the fifth time game day has come here, and the fourth since you've been head coach. What kind of impact does it have on the players, on the campus? And how do they deal with that extra attention? Yeah, well, first of all, we try to keep the players in as normal of a routine and not break that. There's going to be a guy or two that's going to have a little bit extra on his plate, but it's great for the team as far as knowing that, hey, we're the center of the college football universe this week, I guess, and it's a positive thing for them and a reward of sorts, I guess you could say. For the community, it's awesome. The university, it brings exposure to our brand and just the university and community in general. So I think it's win all across the board, but you try to make it. I'll obviously have a heavier load and some things that I got to do that are not a typical week, but trying to have the players and the assistant coaches block everything out, block out the noise, and just go about their routine. Okay, Jordy's giving me the hook. Thanks, guys.